Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. We are conquering another recipe out of my father-in-law's 1950s family heirloom cookbook. This was my father-in-law's dad's, which was then given to him by his dad, so it's been in the family a long time. These opened up bakeries in Wisconsin and Illinois, and this originally came from a bakery in Germany. So these recipes are in huge quantities, so it is taking me some time to get through these and break the recipes down to be for a regular family to enjoy these. So for an example, today we're going to be making a sponge cake. If we were making this for the bakery, it would be 8 pounds of granulated sugar. We do not need that. We're going to be using 2 cups of granulated sugar. I mean, I can't even imagine how many sponge cakes this was making. So here is a close-up of it. It's stained, it's got all the history on it, so I've been taking really good care of it, trying to keep it as pristine as we can. But let's get started. I kind of broke the news, but we are making sponge cake today. So let's do it. So one of the first things we're gonna do is we're going to whip 8 eggs. So you definitely are going to want a stand mixer for this. This is my great grandma's KitchenAid mixer from the 80s. I mention this in probably every video that it's featured in, but I just love it. They literally just don't make things like they used to. And it's got the different like almond color, so it's not white, but it's not like a gray either, but I love it. Side note, let's get back to business. So we're going to whip 8 eggs and our 2 cups of sugar. So these eggs are actually from our chicken coop, which is kind of fun. So we're just gonna crack them in and do our best not to get the shells in. Definitely gonna wanna have your whipping attachment for this. So first, let's dump this in. 2 cups of the sugar, not 8 pounds, and then 8 eggs. So bear with me here. 2, 3. Thought I lost track for a minute. I have exactly 8 eggs, so the chickens knew what they were doing this morning. Okay, so we're gonna whip this for about 10 to 15 minutes until it's tripled in size and it's a nice pale color. So we'll check this in a few minutes, but we're gonna let this old girl get to work. It's been about 13 minutes to be specific. It's definitely tripled in size and it's this gorgeous pale yellow color. So what we can add now is our salt, vanilla, and I'm also gonna add zest from a lemon on here. So this is about half a teaspoon of salt, so not much. My zest, and my vanilla. Okay, let's whip this again. While this is whipping, I'm also gonna steam some milk. I am going to use my little electric teapot because I can really gauge the temperature. It'll say specifically 120 degrees. So we're gonna warm up this milk. I already put it in here, it's a cup. And like I said, we want it to be around 120. And we're gonna let this warm up while this is going to mix on low. The thing that we're going to do is sift the flour. This is very important. We want a nice sifted flour. We're going to be using a cake flour, so not your standard AP flour. This is cake flour. Not all grocery stores have this, but if you go to 5 of them, I'd say at least 3 of them would have them. So we're doing 3/4 cup. While we're sifting the flour, we're also going to be sifting in some baking powder. So I'm just gonna throw it in here as well. We're gonna sift this through twice. Again, just to double check and make sure everything's all good to go. I'm gonna put that in there. I'm gonna throw a cup, another cup, another cup. Actually, I think I'll have just enough. I thought I would have way more, but definitely have just enough. Just enough's always enough, right? Sorry, bad joke. All right, and lastly, we're gonna dump this in. Our milk is all steamy and hot, so I'm gonna continue to mix this on low while I slowly stream the milk in. We can turn it off. Another day, my old KitchenAid survived. She's a workhorse. All right, now that we have our sifted flour, sifted twice, and the baking powder's in here, we're not going to mix or whisk this anymore. We're going to slowly fold this in. Has anyone watched Schitt's Creek? Fold in the cheese. How do you fold in the cheese? No? Okay. If you have, you know. It's just like iconic TV. All right. So we're gonna slowly add this in batches. Again, we wanna make sure we're slow about it so this doesn't deflate. Also, make sure you preheat your oven at this point. I'm gonna have all this information below in the description too, so it's a nice spring cake. For some reason, I feel like sponge cakes are just like a nice Easter cake. It is the middle of January, but today in Wisconsin, it's about 50 degrees, so I'm just gonna pretend it's like a nice April day and we're getting ready for Easter. Now let's grab our pans. So again, I'm gonna use 2 8 rounds. We're gonna grease these and put parchment paper in. So I'm gonna pour about half of this in. Okay. All right. Then I just realized I didn't put parchment paper on that one, so hopefully it all comes out okay. Story of my life. Then we're gonna put the rest in this one. I'm gonna get them a little or I wanna get these even, so. We're gonna bake these for about 30 to 35 minutes at 350 or until like it's golden brown and you kind of do the finger touch and it springs back. So we'll see you guys in 35 minutes. It's been about 30 minutes and they look gorgeous. So let's get them out. You know, I just don't like to use oven mitts for some reason. So is anyone else like this? Or is it just me? So what I'm gonna do right now is let them cool within the pan, but I'm gonna put a cookie cooling rack underneath just so there's good airflow. We'll let them cool in here for about 15 minutes and then we'll run a knife along the side and flip them upside down back on the cooling rack. All right, so it's been about 10 to 15 minutes. So now that things are cooled off more, we're gonna take our butter knife and go around this. Gently. I don't know which one's which, where I remember the parchment paper. I'm sure we'll figure it out when I flip it. All right, let's try and flip this one first. This one popped right out. So here is the parchment paper. I'm gonna pull this off gently. I'm gonna flip it back over. Let's do the other one. I even had the parchment for the circle and everything cut out, and I just completely forgot. But if you know me personally, like, that's just the tip of the iceberg when it comes to me. Okay. All right. Well, it's happening. Try and twist it a little. Oh, thank goodness it came out. Oh, I'm so happy. Okay. These are some thick sponge cakes. I love it. I'm gonna let these cool completely, which is perfect because I'm gonna go run and get my daughter from school, pick up some whipped cream. Unfortunately, I'm not gonna make that homemade. I have to stop at Dollar General in our, I said whipped cream, buddy. My 3-year-old heard me say whipped cream. You do love whipped cream. So I have to stop at the Dollar General to get whipped cream. I don't think they have heavy cream. Otherwise, I would make it myself, but it's okay. All right, so we'll see you guys in a little bit. Okay, so these have been cooling for probably almost 2 hours now, and I was able to get to the store and pick up my Cool Whip. So my local Dollar General did have this, which is great. I'm thawing it out a little bit. I'm going to layer this with whipped cream, layer it with the cake, and layer it with whipped cream again, and I have some blueberries, so I think that will be delicious. Let's frost these with our whipped cream. As you can see, there's a little divot. This is completely normal with sponge cakes. Now, if it were like not cooked and really falling through, that's an issue with the whipped eggs. Or sometimes it can be even if your oven is not super like even temperature, like if you have issues with it being too hot or too cold, that's something to do with that as well. But in this case, this is a pretty normal fall. I am gonna add some of these frozen blueberries. I think it's gonna be the perfect touch. And look how pretty that is. Gorgeous, love it. All right, let's put the top part on. Oh my gosh, look at that. Now we're gonna add the rest of the whipped cream to the top. I personally kind of like the little divot that this made. It's gonna be the perfect little, what's the word? Little cavity for my blueberries to sit in. My whipped cream's still a little frozen. That's why I'm really getting after it. You know, my vision for this series that I'm doing is like a Midwest Martha Stewart. So I love like the aesthetic and like the camaraderie and like the, I don't know, the coziness that Martha Stewart always had on her show. But I also want like the realisticness. For an example, if you guys could see my feet right now, I am like this, doing the splits. If I was standing up straight, I'd be like this. So it's just an example. And Martha Stewart doesn't have her kids in the background gawking at the dessert she's making, right?
Mommy, I want to eat that.
We're gonna eat it later.
But no, I want to eat it today.
I know. I'm gonna add a little texture using my spatula. Kind of give it like that wave looking.
The spatula?
You can lick the spatula. Oh, she's a legend. She's an icon, baby. Of course, this is optional, but we gotta have a pretty plate. My beautiful like cake plate, my vintage one broke, and this is all that's left. I think it was one of those cool ones where it also turned into a punch bowl. Like you could flip it either way. But it's in the past now, we're moving on. Oh my gosh, ah! That was close, you guys. All right, guys, why don't we cut into this, huh? What do you say? Look at that sponge. You guys can see my kitchen right now. It's a wreck. This is not. Let's try it in real time. delicious. 10 out of 10. So good. Thank you guys so much for watching and hanging out with me today. Don't forget to like and subscribe. I will be doing recipes weekly out of my family's heirloom 1950s cookbook. So we'll see you guys next time.